Choosing the wrong entity could cost you six figures. LLC, partnership, S-Corp, C-Corp. Which one's right? If you pick the wrong one, you'll either overpay the IRS or leave your assets wide open to lawsuits. Pick the right one and you'll keep more protected and grow more. Your entity isn't just paperwork. It decides how much profit you actually get to keep, whether your house and savings are safe from lawsuits, and whether investors ever take you seriously or not. Hi, my name's Anthony Brister, founder of the Brister Law Firm, asset protection and tax attorney. And today I'm talking to you about entity selection. So let's get right into it. I had a client who stayed a sole proprietorship, didn't want to file an LLC, but one lawsuit later, their personal checking account was completely wiped out. A $300 filing fee and a couple sets of documents and following the rules could have saved them over $300,000. Here's what no one tells you. If you start a business, you are at risk for those activities that you do. And here's something that people get wrong a lot of the times is that when they're working with another person. No one's going to tell you, but if you start a business with someone else and you do nothing, you've created a partnership by default. The pros of this are it's a flexible, easy to start, and it's good for small ventures. But the con is each person is personally liable for those other partners' mistakes. One partner takes out a loan in the business, you can be on the hook too. The tax, well, it's a pass-through entity, meaning that you both pay self-employment tax on 100% of your shares of profit. I had two brothers I worked with. They ran a landscaping company. One signed for equipment that they couldn't afford, and the lender came after both of the brothers' personal assets. They almost lost their personal savings. Partnerships are fine, but if you want simplicity, but there are a lawsuit waiting to happen without the protection. So what should most business owners start with? And I think that's the limited liability company. And it's because it's flexible and it gives you the asset protection. So LLCs are like the Swiss Army knife of business entities. They can actually be taxed 4 different ways. So you can be a sole proprietorship. If you've got 2 owners or more, it could be a partnership. And if you make a tax election, you can either be a C corporation or an S corporation. The pros to limited liability company are, well, first up is the asset protection. They're flexible in that tax election and it's simple to set up. The cons are that there are default taxations. So if you're one owner, it's going to be sole prop or disregarded. And if you've got 2 owners or more and you don't make an election, you're going to be a partnership. Here's one myth that I see people get wrong all the time, and it's thinking that an LLC is going to save you taxes. LLCs don't save taxes by itself. They're there to protect you. The tax savings come from how you elect to have it taxed. Let me tell you about a story. A real estate client with multiple rental properties protected millions in equity by putting each property in a separate LLC, and a slip and false that he had only subjected one of his LLCs to that lawsuit, not his entire portfolio. He would have had those properties grouped in his personal name or in one LLC. Potentially all of those properties could have been at risk. S-Corps is an IRS loophole that's not advertised for small business owners. The pros are that you can avoid self-employment tax on distributions. Let's take a $150,000 profit, for example. You pay yourself a $70,000 salary. The other $80K flows through tax-free from the self-employment tax, which is around $12,000 of taxes saved. One of the cons, though, to this S-Corp is you have to pay yourself a reasonable salary, and that can be dependent on what you actually do, which field you're in, and how much you're making, and how much distributions you are. So really a con is you have to do payroll and The administrative costs and what you have to do are a little bit more complex than if you're in just a regular LLC. One client came to me and said, "You don't think that I can afford vacations?" Turns out, though, that they were overpaying the IRS by over $3,000 a month because of their entity structure. They were being taxed as a disregarded entity. When they were able to switch to an S-Corp, they were able to get that cash flow back and actually enjoy some of the profit that they were making in their business. Now, let's talk about C-Corps. C-Corps get oversold a lot of times to small business owners, but they do have a place. C-Corps are a very powerful tool, but it can eat you alive if you don't know the rules. They have a 21% flat corporate tax rate. They're great for reinvesting profits. They're the best structure for raising capital, and they open up powerful tax fringe benefits. But the cons are there's double taxation on the profits if they're not structured correctly. And usually these are set up for big corporations or big time players who want to go public, but they really can help save a lot of taxes. Take, for example, I had a founder that I worked with. They qualified for Section 1202 exclusion, this qualified small business stock sale exemption. He sold his company after putting in years of work and paid zero on taxes on millions of dollars in capital gains. The right structure and the right timing made that difference. So how do you choose? Well, if you're starting small or you have a side hustle, an LLC or a partnership might be the right and quick and dirty way for it. If you're making $50,000, $60,000, the LLC disregarded or a partnership might be the right fit. But if you're making from $50,000 to $100,000, just depending on what business and industry you're in, an S-Corp election might make sense. If you're building or scaling a business with investors or wanting to reinvest the capital, C-Corps might be the answer for you. If you got real estate with partners, LLCs, taxes, partnership makes sense. Think of entities like cars, disregarded entities, or partnerships, or like a bicycle, right? It gets you started, but it exposes you. And LLCs, think of it like a pickup truck. It's flexible and reliable, where the S-Corp might be a sports car, fast and tax efficient. And then the C-Corp, like a semi-truck, where it's built for scale, but not for a quick ride. Now, I hear a bunch of myths that I've got to bust when it comes to entities. First myth are, like I said, LLCs save you in taxes. This is false. Another myth that I see are partnerships are a safe entity. General partnerships actually can leave you very exposed and exposed for other people's mistakes. Another myth is S-Corps are too complicated. Wrong. It's a simple setup that can save you thousands. Another myth that I see are about C-Corps, actually two of them, right? One, everyone should form a C-Corp. That's not true. And then C-Corps are only for tech startups. Not true either. I've seen family businesses and some certain types of real estate investors benefit from the C-Corp. So you got to make sure to talk to a professional, see which entity and what you're going to be doing makes sense for that type of entity. And if you're sitting there wondering, am I in the right entity? Don't guess. Every month you wait, you could be sending extra money to the IRS. Go to bristertaxlaw.com and schedule a free discovery call. Let's run the numbers and protect your future and your earnings. The IRS has a plan for your money. Do you have a plan for it? Well, that's all today. We covered entity selection. Thank you for listening to me. If this helped you, please do a favor, hit the like button, share, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to make sure you get notified for all the upcoming videos and helpful tips that we've got. Thanks.